Hello everyone. Thought I'd give a little bit of a video lecture today instead of the normal text-based stuff that I do on the announcements normally, and wanted to discuss why bias. We've been talking a lot about bias in this class and presuppositions and those kind of things, and so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an announcement that'll give you some background and some thoughts about why this is important and why we're spending so much time on it. So, in my mind, bias is important for three reasons, or the understanding of our presuppositions is really important for three reasons. First, it's about being realistic about our limitations, and we've talked about that in various ways, right? We've seen it in the 5S diagram where you ask the question, how is it that my background, skills, and experience help me to understand the text more faithfully and hinder me from reading the text more faithfully? And so our biases and our limited perspective do set some constraints on how well we can interpret Scripture. And we have to be pretty diligent about whether or not we understand fully what the Bible is saying, about as to whether we understand a situation that we're speaking into as well as we might. And so it does cultivate in us a sense of humility and an understanding, a clearer understanding of the limitations that we bring to the interpretive exercise. In addition, it helps us to be confident about what we bring. Again, the two questions in that 5S diagram were, number one, how do my background, skills, and experience hinder me from, more faithfully reading the text? And then the second question is, how is it that my skills, experience, background help me to read the text more faithfully? And so there is a very real sense in which your unique perspective adds to, or has the potential to add to, how we interpret the Scriptures, how we understand who God is, how we understand given situations, and how God works within them. You all will have had experiences. You'll bring different thoughts and a different way of thinking to the table. You'll have different knowledge that I don't have, and so I need to hear that. And you're uniquely gifted to bring that. You're uniquely situated to bring that, and so we shouldn't apologize for our situated interpretations. We should understand their limitations and their strengths. And then the final thing is really about being part of a community. I think of it in terms of art class. In art class in high school, one of the things we had to do was create a still life. And the still lifes were you'd sit around a large rectangular table with your classmates, and you'd sit down in one chair, and you'd be asked to draw something like a basket of fruit. And so maybe I'm sitting across from you, and my basket of fruit, as I render it as accurately as I possibly can, has a pineapple, a kiwi, and a banana. From your perspective, sitting directly across the table from me, seeing the other side of the fruit basket, maybe your fruit basket has oranges and grapes and apples. In other words, because neither of us can see the other side of the fruit basket, simply because of our more narrow perspective, we're going to need each other to really fill out and understand the fullness of what's in that fruit basket and to see the full reality of it with because we're to fill out the perspective that we're lacking. And I think that's the way I think about the need for community and interpretation. We're not alone in this. We don't have to just be subject to our limitations and our unique strengths that we bring to the table individually. We can also depend and pull in a trusted community of other interpreters who will help us see God more faithfully through the text. And so interpretation becomes a more communal activity. So as we go through this course and we're talking a lot about bias and presuppositions, I know it can get tedious, and probably at this point some of you have asked yourself, why is it that we're continually talking about bias and presuppositions? And I would say it's because it's such an undervalued resource within the interpretive exercise, and because the issue of community isn't often recognized. We don't often hear a lot about interpreting within community and valuing and benefiting from the other people who are interpreting texts and situations along with us. And so that's why it's such an emphasis in this course, and I would just encourage you to continue moving forward as you do your discussion board for week 5 and you look at the way that those various uh, elements of the interpretive exercise are prioritized, this is going to highlight some good things for you as to how your classmates differ in the way that they prioritize, differ in the way that they see how the interpretive exercise could work, and that's all a good thing. There's not a real right or wrong answer to this discussion board this week. I'm sure you've already kind of figured that out. But what I hope it does highlight for you is, these sort of points that I'm pointing out in this little announcement of you really do need need to learn to appreciate what other people bring to the table. Even people you disagree with. They have something to share that is uniquely them, that comes from a unique perspective. And as long as you can stay open to it, I'm confident you'll be a more faithful interpreter.